Hi everybody, and thanks for tuning in. Today we're doing a teardown on my '08 R6 in preparation for 2019 race season with WMRRA up here in the Pacific Northwest. Just started here on the tail section. I already had a couple pieces off. You can see I got my two little helpers here in the garage. Working through some of these plastic rivets was kind of interesting. Some of this stuff has been on this bike since it was probably manufactured by my guess. Just a little challenging to get out of there. Trying to not break anything because I'm going to try to make some of my money back by selling some of these parts. This one was a little interesting too because the battery that was in it was actually a little oversized, so I had to remove that tank bracket so I could actually get the battery out of there. This bike also had a little bit of a wiring issue with the tail light. It kept draining the battery, so it'll be nice to have all that assembly out of there, and hopefully I'll get rid of that battery drain issue. And there again, you can see I was just working on getting that tank bracket out of there so that I can get the battery out. And I found that one of those screw studs is actually a little bit loose. I'll have to figure out something so I can tighten that down, keep that thing from spinning once I get it all assembled again. When I got up here to the fairing on the right side, it was a little bit of a problem with the large plastic pin that's in there. It didn't want to come out, and like I said, I'm trying to not break anything. So I went over to the other side of the bike, got that fairing off on the other side, tried to figure out if there was a way that I could get that fairing off without removing that plastic pin, because it really felt like I was going to break that tab. And right there behind that area is where that fairing bolt is with the grommet. And I figured out that I could actually work that fairing off of the grommet without removing that pin. So get everything out of there, and you can see right there I was really working on trying to wiggle that fairing over that grommet. And eventually, after a couple minutes, I was successful getting it off the grommet, a couple other pins and screws out of there. Then I was actually able to get into the backside of that pin and pop it out. So just continue working on the rest of that fairing piece there, finish getting that off, and a couple little pieces over on the other side, and then take the windscreen off. Unfortunately, I can't reuse this windscreen for racing because someone did almost looked like Ryno lining on the backside of it so that it's black. So I had to go and get another windscreen. I'm not even going to bother trying to take that stuff off. I'll just maybe try to sell it with the rest of the parts. Took a break for dinner, came back and decided to be comfortable, and continuing here, just removing the exhausts. Actually got I think it was a M4 exhaust that I got from a buddy of mine, Scott Schneider. Big thank you to him for hooking me up on that. Good deal on that full race system. There I was just kind of giving my wife an idea of what we were working on. She was helping me on the opposite side of the bike and, getting me tools, trying to make it a little bit quicker. Removing the whole manifold assembly there. And once we get all that out, I was able to lift that whole new system in there. And it was a little interesting trying to figure out how I was going to keep the exhaust gaskets in place. Fortunately, 3 of them, once I got them kind of worked up in there, they stayed. So it was just one that we had to hold up in there in place while we got everything up. And just kind of got screws started on all the exhaust flanges. And then once I got the screws started on the exhaust flanges, we went ahead and installed those 2 rear brackets. Make sure that everything was aligned properly before I went up front with the torque wrench and actually torqued those down to spec. So just making sure I have good alignment on everything, that way I don't get any exhaust leaks up there on the front end. I had to scrounge for a couple bolts and nuts. Just a little bit different design with the M4 versus the stock system. The stock system has a couple of tack welded nuts on it, so I had to do a little bit of looking around in the bolt can. I decided while I was working on everything, went ahead and worked on the AIS system and getting block-off plates in there. So the little plastic piece that's in the bottom of that airbox is really challenging to get out of there if you're not entirely sure how it goes in there. It has a little tab on the front as well as 2 tabs on the back. So I figured also I could take the fans out of there because I'm not going to need those when I'm out on the track. I'm not going to be stationary for long enough that I actually need to have them in there. So give myself a little bit better access by taking the fans out. And unfortunately I ran out of battery life on the camera. So we're coming up to the end of the video here. So thanks again for tuning in. Big huge thank you to all my sponsors. They're all listed down in the comment section below. If you could give me a like and a subscribe, I'll see you guys again soon.